Good morning, everybody. I'm angry today, like many of you, because we've been lied to consistently over the last 3 months about what happened in Southport. And on the 29th of July this year, as we know, there was a mass murder that happened by a 17-year-old boy at the time. He's now an 18-year-old man called Axel Rudakubana. He killed three young girls at a Taylor Swift dance class in Southport, completely innocent girls. And he tried to murder another eight girls. He stabbed them. Fortunately, mercifully, they've all made a recovery, as far as I hear. He also attacked a couple of the people who were staff there who tried to save some of the girls from being killed, and they managed to save some lives, obviously. Since then, we've been told that this person here is British, he's Welsh, he's Christian, he's a nice boy, he is a quiet boy, he's a choir boy, he was an actor in a Doctor Who clip in Children in Need. What a wonderful, lovely person he is. But there's been no photo or no even, video, photo, whatever, apart from a single artist drawing of him when he was in the courtroom initially 3 years ago, being remanded in custody, where obviously he's not this nice 11-year-old boy that we keep getting the picture of. Even today, we get the picture of this person who was a mass murderer, allegedly, obviously, because he's still got to go on trial, but he's been charged with those things. And the media are still presenting this person as a respectable little boy in the images that we see of him. We've been told over and over again that this is nothing to do with terror, this is nothing to do with Islam. One of the worst things, one of the worst comments I've seen, and we got terrible comments from MPs, from the Prime Minister, from the Home Secretary, from the police, constables and superintendents, and the mainstream media and political commentators. But here's one that I just saw, because there's so many people talking about this. And this is from Dr. Shola Moss Shogbami. Axel Ruda Kubana is the 17-year-old Southport murderer, black British Christian born and bred in UK, not Muslim, nothing to do with Islam, and not immigrant on a small boat. Everything he knows he learnt from Britain, so all the bigoted racists have to weaponise now that he's black. Or is that he's black? We know those riots were never about the murdered innocents. FYI, Axel is a Christian name. Well, this is now proven. Now that some more information has been revealed to everybody 3 months after, this post here is complete garbage. Because the two things that we've now learned that he's been formally charged by the police is that he downloaded an Al Qaeda training manual which people use to try to find out how to be a terrorist and how to carry out terrorist acts. And another thing is that he had some ricin, this deadly nerve gas, at his home, which was found by the police. And he didn't use it, mercifully, but he could have done. Maybe he was planning to do something else with this ricin, carry out a poison attack. I don't know. But obviously he's also been charged with the murders of three young girls and the attempted murders of eight others. So clearly here, this is something to do with Islamism. I don't know anything more than this. I've heard people privately in the media circles discuss things. Again, with all of the apparatus of the state looking for people saying something which they don't like but may be true, and then coming to harass you and putting you in prison. I'm not going to say things which I've heard and repeat things which I've heard now that there's a court case going on live. But We're clearly being lied to, and the misinformation and the disinformation is coming from the government, from the Starmer regime, from the forces, the law enforcement agencies. That's where the disinformation is coming from. So an apology is deserved to everybody who was smeared as far right, as a thug, or who had concerns about migrant crime or Islamism or terrorism, particularly targeting women and girls. I mean, these people go on about how they want to protect women and girls, but then there is a real threat here to women and girls, particularly girls, as we see. And these are not the only girls that have been targeted by Islamists, if you like, or migrant criminals. We've had, obviously, the horror a few years ago of Emily Lloyd attacked by a migrant in Bolton. We've seen other women and girls being targeted deliberately all over Europe, now over the United States as well. So there's something going on here. But instead of dealing with the issue and trying to keep women and girls safe, the powers that be try to shut people up and smear them as spreading disinformation, when all everyone wants really is just for people to be safe in our own country. And it is our country. It is not the country that belongs to migrants coming to commit crimes. And this needs to be addressed. And what's the reaction today or yesterday from Keir Starmer? Oh, well, we need to let the police work on the case. Well, they've worked on the case, and they've told us that this man now has downloaded an Al-Qaeda training manual. What more evidence do you need that this is Islamist terror, migrant crime that is going on and infesting our country and needs to be dealt with? But it's not going to be dealt with by this pathetic regime. And it's not just a pathetic regime, it's a regime which is making war on ordinary people who want to keep our own people safe, who want to keep people in this country safe. That's all it's about. And they're so twisted and inverted that they will then smear ordinary patriots who want safety for our nation and smear them as the one who are thugs and rioters. This is absolutely disgusting and disgraceful. And we can see now how they have systematically lied and gaslighted everybody who is decent in this country over the last 3 months. And some people have paid the ultimate price. Peter Lynch died in prison last weekend, a week ago. And we're told again that he committed suicide. Really? He was put on a wing with 90% Muslims. You had people from the regime saying, well, anyone who's been involved in the riots can expect a pretty rough time in prison. You know, you wonder if people who have been picked up, who are just expressing legitimate opinions about this country going to the dogs in terms of safety, in terms of criminality increases, being deliberately put in harm's way in prisons, not for doing anything that's violent themselves, but just for holding up a placard. Yeah, saying things about the police, saying things about the situation in the country. People have free speech, and yet they're arrested, put under huge pressure to plead guilty. I imagine that they're told, well, if you plead guilty now, you'll be in prison for a year, but if you don't, we're going to keep you on remand for a year or two, take you to the Crown Court and get you the maximum sentence of 10 years or something. So, you know, when someone's presented with a choice like that, and they don't have the money, they don't have a lot of money, ordinary people, to defend themselves in front of a legal system where the fees are extortionate, to actually defend yourself properly if you're charged. You've got no choice or no chance, or, you know, you can hold out and say, okay, well, I'm innocent, I'm not guilty, and that's what you should do. But when you're in the system and they take away all your contact from your friends and family, you don't have any lawyer apart from the police station lawyer. They're going to tell you to plead guilty because they want to process you, get you as a statistic in their books, and then, okay, job done, pick up the check, move on to the next person. That's what they care about. So people are under pressure there when they're in the system in a dreadful situation, put on a wing on remand with people who are out to get you 24/7. What do? I don't know what I'd do. I like to think I'd hold out and say I'm not guilty, but this is and that's what people should do. But when you're faced with that choice, Peter Lynch pled he was guilty of the things that he was charged with. I don't believe he was at all, because he didn't do anything violent. And then he ends up dead. But did he commit suicide? Where's the post-mortem? Where's the coroner's report? We're just told that's what the prison that he was in, the prison guards, the prison superintendent, whatever. That's what they said. But I suspect he was probably beaten to death by some prison gangs, ethnic prison gangs, real migrant criminals who were out to get him because they were almost perhaps encouraged to do so, and he was deliberately put in harm's way. And that's what's happening here. And if that is the case, then he was murdered by the British state and the Starmer regime. And they need to be held accountable for the evil that they are doing against ordinary British people and patriots who do not want an increase in criminality in this country and for things like this to continue going on. We now know that they've lied. It's there for everybody to see. So everything they've said over the last 3 months is a complete fabrication. We know what's going on now. And I want to get rid of them at the ballot box. It's what I'm trying to do. I tried to stand in the last election. I thank everyone for the support that we got. But if this regime is in for another 4.5 years, who knows what's going to happen? I hope that they start fighting each other and the regime collapses. It really needs to. And let's hope that that can happen peacefully. I wish I could give everyone a ray of hope here. But I suppose the only thing is that now we know the truth. The truth is out. And everybody can see how despicable and repugnant the people in the state and working for the state, which is making war on ordinary people, is. Thanks for listening, everybody. And may God keep you all.